Welcome to the Can't Drive series. This is where these two ultra cool guys are going to hang out, we're going to talk story, and we are literally going to invite ourselves, but with positive vibes only, into your own journeys.
We're excited to share our perspectives, experiences, and the experiences of so many individuals we find inspiring in ways that we trust will bring you hope, motivation, and the inspiration to grow and ultimately thrive because, as I say, can. Jason is my coach, a cool Jamaican now living on the island of Kauai. He has launched a coaching platform that blends a scientific approach, drawing from his PhD and background as a former biomedical researcher and medical communications consultant. Jason's now a highly regarded fitness specialist and coach. He focuses on tapping into his clients' sense of strength as they physically and mentally transform and thrive.
Yeah, it's true. I am Andy's coach. This guy isn't an entrepreneur. He's the founder of a local Kauai apparel brand known as Can, which is really rooted in the principles of positive psychology. He's also a dedicated nonprofit fundraiser with a background as an elite endurance athlete and somebody who cherishes all the endorphins that are downstream of really challenging physical activities, usually very, very cardio focused. But he's super committed to continually improving in all aspects of his life, and more importantly, in helping others to discover their own spirit of can. All right, guys, welcome back to the Can't Drive series. This episode sort of takes us right to the core of can, and the concept of thriving, right? We're tackling really the excitement, the challenge, the potential avoidance that sometimes we experience when we're starting out doing something or just something that we want to just get after, just go for it. The message here is there is literally nothing that you cannot accomplish if, number one, you take the first step. And then number two, you commit to taking consistent steps after that first step. All right. I know for myself, and I know for so many people out there, maybe this sort of resonates with you as well. Deciding what that first step is can be sort of paralyzing. You allow that, well, what should I do to keep you stuck? Right. And just preventing you from actually taking that step. For me, sometimes it's just a complete fear of the unknown. You know, what am I going to do? What if I fail? What if it is exponentially harder than I think it's going to be? Or what if I just hate the thing that I'm stepping into? And very commonly, what if it costs way more? Whether that's money, whether that's socially relationships, whether that's time, which some days I just don't even know why 24 hours is our limit. Or what if it takes more effort and more energy than I want to contribute? You know, that negative what if can be, so paralyzing. But sometimes the positive what ifs can be just as paralyzing. That sounds crazy, but you might have experienced being held back by, well, what if, I take a step in this direction and it's awesome. I love it. It's easier than I thought. It's a wonderful experience. I definitely want to go after blah, 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 this direction. Well, on the flip side, maybe you're held back because there are things that you feel you'll have to give up in order to keep going in this new direction based on what you've started. So, both the negative what ifs and some of the positive what ifs that have a negative reverse to them can just sort of feel like, okay, they're holding you back. But really, there's nothing that you cannot do if you take that first step and then followed up with consistent second and third and fourths. Andy, what do you think? You are the expert of can.
Well, I think I came up with it is a massive crutch, as I have always leveraged keywords, and that's kind of how the whole brand got started. In a way, it was a motivational tool for myself and for my staff when I was doing fundraising at the hospital. But prior to that, I used keywords to I
know where this is going.
The hilarious story of salmon.
Our viewers or listeners don't know.
When I raced bikes back in the day, road cycling, I was involved in a series of crashes and it freaked me out. A sports psychologist and learned what the process was, what happens in races and why you get scared. It's pretty sketchy and dangerous and you have to commit all in and you really don't know what's going to happen. You have to put fear aside. So he came up with this concept of, he was like, you're a salmon. And I'm like, what? He's like, you swim upstream. And I was like, wow, I do swim upstream. Like that's, and without any fear.
Yeah.
Bears, whatever might get you, your job is to make it upstream. So I wrote that down as a keyword and it was on my handlebars and it was and you kind of practice that. Yeah. It's a trigger word for you that when you repeat that, it's a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just sort of like, that's who I am and what I am right now.
Yeah.
So I've always used, I would say, crutches and things. I've used, people that to help me take the first step towards something.
Mm-hmm.
Often friends that, whether I had the opportunity to do Race Across America, this epic cycling race, and I leaned on.
Bless. Do with that. Unless I'm in a car driving behind and like handing you water.
Well,
otherwise, no, thank you.
That is a fun part of the journey. But so, I would say, not really an expert as in, or maybe I am just from learning, the process of that nudge forward. And that's what the brand's all about, is just to say, just a nudge forward.
Yeah.
But I've always had to lean on people for that. So what we're doing with this Thrive stuff, and we are matching shirts today.
I mean, we had to, right? At some point we had to do it.
But you're the one, I said, hey, I want to do this, but you're the one that said we're doing it.
Yep.
And we're starting now. And I'm like, well, what if? And you're like, no, there's no what if.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah.
So I do think you could find partners in crime in terms of like, when you want to do something, find somebody that will just start it, because there's starters that are out there and it was same with the brand too. I had different people that just said, just go to the market, just go,
just take
it to the market. Yeah. Just do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's definitely how I look at it. You need to use tricks and tools, but you can't not start.
Right.
And sometimes you got to activate others that then in turn activate you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to turn to keywords. I leverage that concept for a really long time. Anytime I need to start something, because I remembered I had confidence in the outcomes that I had. So you might remember something that you committed to and did, and were successful at it, and tie a word to it, tie a concept to it, tie a color to it, whatever you got to do, and then begin again. And I think that's been, for me, that can's the keyword for me now. And I hope it is a concept for others, or a reminder, find whatever that is for you. But that's my take on it. That's how I'm not the most confident or courageous person, that's for sure. But there are times when I find it, but I usually find it through tricks and others, that teammates and, other professionals around me, whether it be in the job.
I find it, I'm going to use the word serendipitous, but really I believe more in the word synchronicity, that a former client of mine even texted me today, literally something that they heard relating to, if you're finding yourself avoiding starting something, maybe it means the first step is too big and you just scale back and take a smaller step.
You said no?
Exactly, right? So, I mean, really my response to that was, yes, maybe the first step that you're looking at is too large of a leap for where you are right now. Maybe a smaller bite is what you're wanting, Sure. But it could be so many other things. I mean, going back to our episode that sort of addressed the concept of resistance, I think one thing that is beneficial for all of us in that situation is pausing and reflecting on, okay, why does this feel like too large of a leap? Is it because I'm doubtful of my capabilities and capacities? Is it that I don't have an opportunity or resources or skill? Is there something missing that I can then go after, bring to the equation and move forward? Or is it something else, right? And it may just be, yes, it's too large of a leap at the moment, and you scale back and you take the first step. What I think is powerful about, that reflection or that examination and then taking the first step is, I think we all share this as humans, that having done something, even the smallest step in a particular direction, it changes us, right? It tends to lead to another. It's like stepping into the gym on a day where you just don't feel like going. I am yet to hear an example where someone who didn't feel like going to the gym steps into the gym and then walks immediately out without doing anything. Usually what happens is you step in, you do the first set, the first exercise, and you kind of just keep going. And then by the time you're done, number one, you feel better. Number two, you're like, well, why was I, even hesitant in the first place? I had at least a reasonable workout, if not a great workout. So the idea is the first step leads to another, almost always, right?
That's so true. Especially exercise, I think it's the perfect example, because you get those feel-good endorphins pretty quickly. And so you're not going to turn around.
Yeah. Before you know it, you have momentum.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That concept is spot on, especially it's a good exercise to tie that into other things you do in life, because sometimes it's the space you're in. You got to leave the house, or you just got to get to the place where the thing is going to occur, and then don't worry about how it'll go or what the outcome will be. You just got to be there.
And you and I were just sort of behind the scenes having just a general talk story chat about things. And we were just talking about setting your direction, having something in mind that you want to accomplish, orienting your mind and your action toward that outcome, and worrying less about the how. The how will sort of come along as you set your intention and start taking steps. So literally that first step. And along the way, opportunity presents itself. Along the way, you learn. Along the way, you grow. Along the way, you have interesting experiences. You meet people that are able to lend a helping hand in some way. And I like to think, and I think this is going to sort of resonate with you and sort of your vision for yourself and the Can Period brand. But, along the way, you have the opportunity to impact other people's lives for the better, right? And as in part of that process, not only do you change as a person, but you help to change others. And
I agree. No,
what could be more valuable?
No, it's my favorite part about being involved in it. I'm by far not very good at business or any of this, but I enjoy it.
I'm gonna put on my coaching hat and challenge you right there. Whatever statement you just made, we're just going to qualify it with the word yet.
Okay. But bottom line is I really enjoy the one email I get from somebody.
Yeah.
I love being partnered with Kaylee E, aka Hawaiian. There's a guy that doesn't
he's always taking the first step.
Oh my God. He's a first step expert, all in.
Yeah.
And I love the concepts of being around people like that. And I love the experiences. And so it's a law of attraction kind of concept. So it's fun because I'm not that guy. So what it's done for me is attract more people into my life that are like you and like others that will just take the first step. You just started flying planes. I think that's pretty incredible to...
Way to throw me under the bus and get a commitment out there into the world.
We'll edit that out. But that's a huge step, right? Like of something that you were worried about or fearful or whatever. But I love the idea of it. And again, I literally have to lean on others to see things manifest.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, so intrinsic strengths, values, and then the external environment. What in your environment can help you to move forward? There's no shame in or stigma associated with using the people around you who want to support you, who want the best for you, and can provide a helping hand for you to take a first step or a second or a third in a particular direction that you want to go in. Those are the tools, the resources, the environments that are going to be meaningful to help you to move forward. I want to also challenge anybody listening or watching this. If you're having something that you're wanting to step toward, get clear on it. What is it? Where do you want to go, and what feels like the first step for you? Is there something you want to go all in on? And then before, you allow sort of the can't mindset, the doubt, the fear, the negativity to creep in and sort of take hold and, literally resistance rearing its head and paralyzing you, pause and think about what are all the positive what if questions you can ask. What if this, insert something super awesome in the space there, and let your mind wander and marinate on that positive what if, because on the other side of that process is a little bit more intrinsic motivation, a little bit more excitement to take that step and to move forward. And, if you need to, or if you want to lean on someone else or leverage something in your environment to make that happen, then go for it. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a collaborative team effort. And so you got to have those people around you and steal from their inspiration and their ideas and don't feel threatened by it. Social media is painful, right? Because it looks like everybody on there is taking the first step, but they're not. They're not showing you.
They're filming a first step.
They edited a first step.
Exactly.
After all the missteps or those steps.
Exactly.
But I do think that there's cool opportunities to find people in your life and to understand that just because they're doing it doesn't mean you're not able to do it. They're just an example for you.
Because your vision for yourself is always going to be your own. So just, always remember that. Always hold on to, this is sort of your life. This is your process. This is your vision. And you get the opportunity. It is entirely yours to choose the direction you want to go and how you want to go about it.
Yep. True.
Yep. What do we do? Mic drop?
Mic drop.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next episode of the Can Thrive series. Make sure you head on back for the next one. All right, talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chase.
All right, guys, if our conversation has been meaningful to you in any way today, then please would like to encourage you to support us through number one, subscribing to the Defeating Can't podcast, which Andy regularly hosts. Of course, following the Spirit of Can on Instagram, and definitely go ahead and pick up a piece of Can merch from any of the retail outlets like Deja Vu Surf here on Kauai, or head online to thespiritofcan.com. We'll keep those links here below.
And be sure to follow Jason on LinkedIn and Instagram accounts and reach out to him by DM with any fitness, lifestyle, or well-being and performance-related questions you have.
All right, guys, super important to keep in mind the context of all our conversations here in this series. And I am a certified health and well-being coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a fitness nutrition specialist. But at the end of the day, I am not a physician. I am not a therapist. I'm not a registered dietitian. So it's really important to keep that in mind and consult with your preferred healthcare provider, whether that be a medical doctor or a therapist, to ensure that your particular needs are being met specifically by a trained professional.
And just as Jason mentioned, the discussions and concepts discussed in this podcast are for informational purposes only. If the can't in your mind ever becomes too much, we encourage you to consult with a professional. As I've always said, can't ask for help. You remember this sticker? You've probably seen it in an order or out in the world. We've given away thousands of these, as it's so important that we want you to reach out when you need it.